Evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Thanks for being here on Thursday. This is like my, 5th event for the day, so hopefully my voice lasts through this thing. So we're here to talk about situational awareness. Anybody know what that is? What the picture is?
300.
Well, it's based on Thermopylae, yeah, but it's Greek. So what those guys are doing is what we call a phalanx. It's basically it's a team shielding event, right? And in order to do that, you have to have good situational awareness. Whatever's in front of you, what's going on with the guy to your right, the guy to your left, and hopefully there's no one behind you, right? So that's the kind of thing we're going to be talking about tonight. My name is Vince Osorio. I've been with the Gardena Police Department since 1995. So I'm in the middle of my 28th year right now. I've done almost everything on the department, anything in uniform. I never wanted to be a detective because I always found that boring. I spent most of my time on the SWAT team, spent 20 years on the team, from everything from entry-level breacher to team commander. Best job on the department. And I've been an instructor for multiple disciplines at the department, ranging from teaching tactics to new recruits and new officers, SWAT training, handgun and AR-15 training, defensive tactics, all the fun stuff I got to do. So yeah, it's been really fun. I teach martial arts on the outside at a place called IMB Academy, which is now in Carson. I got a couple degrees. I'm Filipino, so my mom and dad were big on, or are big on education. My education took a little bit longer than normal people. So I think I got my BA at 40, and then I got my master's at 50 back in 2020. And I only did that because now my kids have to go through the same thing. So they can't say that, hey, you didn't do it. I'm a SAFE instructor, which is situational awareness for employees, which is kind of what I based this quick class on. And I own a small business on the outside teaching this and active shooter response, self-defense, and all those things that regular people don't get to learn on a normal basis. Forgot to mention, I've been married almost 31 years now, one wife. In my line of work, you have to be specific, because I know a lot of guys who have been married 10 years to her and 15 to her and so on. So I wanted to keep it at one, so I think we're doing okay. So that's me in a nutshell. Let's see here. All right, real quick video for everyone. This is hooked up, right, Jose?
Yeah.
Okay. So keep an eye on the video. There's going to be a couple questions in there for you guys.
Here's your trick. How many people in orange shirts get subs?
How many people in orange shirts
Go.
get subs?
Seven people
How many
in
got
orange
subs?
shirts got subs.
Okay, keep
But
watching.
what else did you see? Did you notice the ice cream truck change to a pizza truck? Did you notice the glasses? What about the man leaving the suspicious package next to the truck? Your next challenge, be aware of your surroundings. If you see something suspicious, say something to local authorities.
All right, just a really quick video, right? Just to kind of enhance what we're talking about tonight. How many of you have one of these? This is the best thing ever, isn't it? Yeah. Not if you're trying to pay attention to what's going on around you, right? For those of you who've been through my active shooter class, I bring up phones all the time because you're walking through the mall, you're shopping at Target, you're doing whatever, and everyone is buried in their phones, right? The reason we have hands-free calling and hands-free texting laws is because it's physically impossible for you to concentrate on this phone and drive at the same time, right? You can't pay attention to what's going on around you. I get on my kids all the time. I have to get on myself sometimes too, because I don't know if you guys know this, but I get a lot of emails and texts from my chief. So I'm trying to answer them all the time, right? And that just stops me from being able to pay attention to what's going on in the world around me. So who can tell me what situational awareness is? Any guesses are good. Margie, you put your hand up?
Well, sort of. It means paying attention to the stuff that's around you,
Okay,
at least for me.
okay, good. What else? What's that?
I didn't hear the question exactly.
I asked, what do you think situational awareness means?
Be aware of your surroundings, watch things that are going on. If
Okay.
it doesn't look right, then, possibly not right.
I want you to remember what Carol just said. If it doesn't look right, right? Now, I'm going to give you a really short definition. Yeah. That's a lot to unpack, right? So this is from the American Psychological Association. It's a conscious knowledge of the immediate environment and the events that are occurring in it. They could have stopped right there, but somebody smart decided I'm going to keep writing. Situational awareness involves perception of the elements in the environment, the comprehension of what they mean and how they relate to one another, and projection of their future states. In ergonomics, for example, it refers to the operator's awareness of the current status and the anticipated future status of the system. I don't even know what that means, but we're supposed to understand that, right? Situation awareness is influenced by a number of factors, including stress. It may be impaired by cognitive tunneling or social tunneling. So being on your phone, someone's trying to speak with you while you're trying to pay attention to something. And you can compare it to ambient awareness and vigilance, all right? This is a big definition, all right? I'm gonna try and bring it down to something that's a little more understandable for everybody. Just like Carol said, if something doesn't look right, there's probably something wrong, right? And if it's not wrong, then it's not, for lack of better wording, it's not 100% right. So you got to pay attention to it. So these are the things I want you guys to think about when it comes to situational awareness. So baseline. Carol said, if it doesn't look right. Everybody knows what this CERT meeting is supposed to look like, right? Rows are normally set up. Everyone's facing this way towards the east, towards the speaker or towards the presentation or whatever it is. And that's how it normally happens. Now, if some guy in a bunny suit decided to start doing backflips in front of me here, that's kind of out of the ordinary, right? Or like in the presentation, if I'm speaking, and somebody decides, someone comes in from the entrance door, walks up, leaves a box here, looks around real quick, and then walks out. Something wrong?
Yeah.
Right, okay. I can give you a quick example. Obviously my kids have been through all my training classes. I've taught them since they were little, because just real quick about, the thing about me, I started training martial arts because I got tired of getting my butt kicked when I was a kid. Getting chased by, gangsters where I was living. So I started training, and I promised myself that if I ever had kids, it would never happen to them. So my wife and I raised 3 ninjas. Now we're trying to help raise our ninja grandson. He's not paying attention yet, so we'll see. He might have to get his butt kicked once or twice before he decides, I'm gonna start training too. But, a lot of what we did with them was we tried to teach them how to be situationally aware, how to, the things to look for, and where to sit, where to look, all those different kinds of things. My youngest, who will be graduating from college here pretty soon, well, we were in church, I think it was last year, and we're sitting there, and I always sit in the back so I can see what's going on. My kids sit with us, and on this day, I was at the end of the aisle. Then actually my son was at the end. It was me and then my wife, and we watched 2 new parishioners walk in, one with a big backpack and then a younger guy. So they walk in, they took the left side of the church and started walking towards the front. One of them sat down right at about midway through the church, and the other one continued the one with the big bag continued all the way to the front of the church and sat directly in front of where the priest was, speaking. My son he's doing this, and I go, I got it, we're good. And we discussed our options and what would happen, and whatever. And we, he picked that guy, and I picked the guy in the front. And we like I said, we went over options. We went over, hey, this is what's going to happen if this, right? And we came up with a couple of different courses of action. Thankfully, the son just didn't like sitting with the dad at church, because we talked to them after.
Oh.
And you welcome them into the parish and everything, right? So we went up along with the welcoming team and kind of snuck in with them and said, hey, how you guys doing? Hey, that was kind of weird. You guys, you sat over there, you sat over there, and the kid jumped in right away and said, I just don't like sitting next to my dad at church. Okay, understandable completely, right? But like Carol said, does that look normal? Absolutely not. And those are the things that should be making your spider sense go off. You should be thinking, oh, hey, there's something wrong here. What's going on with this? Just like in the video. Video, I found out a little while ago. It's an excellent example of how different things can influence what you are focusing on and what you can pick up on in a certain situation, right? Everyone was looking to see, how many subs went out. They're watching the people in the orange shirts, okay? And then I think some of you actually got to 7.
Yeah.
I got to be honest. I had to watch it a couple times before I got to 7. And every time I watch it again, I missed everything else that was in the video, right? You don't see the sign changes. You don't see the glasses change or any of that stuff. You sure as heck didn't see the guy drop the bag off, because we're not looking for it, right? So you have to be vigilant of your environment and pay attention to what's going on, how people are moving, what they're paying attention to. I've told the story to a lot of you in here. The funniest thing you'll ever see is 4 cops trying to sit at the same table, right? Because everybody wants, let's say this is Denny's or wherever, somebody wants to sit with their back to the wall so we can see that door. We can see everybody come in. Usually it goes by seniority, but if you're about equal in rank, there's a whole lot of elbowing and pushing and stuff going on. It's great. I don't have to do that anymore, thank God. But you got to pay attention to what's going on. You have to put yourself in a position of advantage when you're out and about. You have to be able to pay attention to what's going on around you, right? So we have the baseline. Everybody knows what it looks like in a restaurant. Everybody knows what it looks like when you go to the movie theater, or even walking around in the mall. People running in the mall is not normal, right? People running and screaming is not normal, and you can add different things to that situation, right? People window shopping and kind of strolling, that's normal, right? But you got something, Richard?
No, I did.
Go ahead.
Well, we have a business, and I noticed a couple times, people walk in and they're not looking at items, they're just
Yeah.
looking at the plate. I mean, you go into a business that we sell stuff, item, they should be like, oh, this is, no, they were like, looking for cameras or looking,
Right. Absolutely. And as a shopkeeper, you have to pay
A
attention.
lot of it, you can tell something's wrong because they're making too much eye contact with you.
to see where you're at and what you're doing.
So the eye contact thing is huge. The only people that make eye contact with me when I'm out and about are other cops. I can almost prove it 99% of the time. If I'm sitting in a restaurant, I'm watching people come in and I make eye contact with somebody and they maintain that eye contact, I know they ain't looking at me because I'm good looking, right? So, 9 times out of 10, that's a cop or someone who's in the military or someone who has to pay attention, right? Bad guys do the same thing sometimes because they want to see where you're looking. Hey, is Richard watching me while I'm walking through his shop getting ready to run out with, whatever? So pay attention to what's going on, right? So the wrong is what we call an anomaly. And that's anything that sets itself apart, right? Someone who drops off a box and just leaves. Someone who comes in, asks you some stupid questions, tries to get you to, jump into the conversation with them and then gets flustered and they take off. Or, you know, someone walking in your neighborhood, someone who doesn't, you know, for lack of better wording, belong in your neighborhood, right? These days, porch pirates are huge. You know, that problem is just epidemic. So everyone's watching, right? Everyone's watching their Ring cameras and all the other things to see. I watch mine, and it's like, all of a sudden there's a whole lot of people going jogging, right, through my neighborhood, which never happens. Thankfully, nothing got stolen, but you have to pay attention to what's going on. You know, people walking through parking lots, just kind of looking into cars. That's not normal. Those are all anomalies. So you have your baseline, and then you have your anomaly, right? And those two things combined will help you with something else. You put those together, and those help you make decisions. All right. You have to, when you're making a decision, we're talking about a course of action. What are you going to do? Are you going to call the police? Are you going to get up and yell at somebody and tell them to get off your lawn? Are you going to just going to stay in your house and be quiet? You know, everything has to be done in context. Everything has to be done with some, you know, with that combination of things, right? It has to be relevant to the situation too. You know, obviously, if someone's breaking into your car, one of your choices is not to run out and jump out the back fence and go the other way, right? You're going to call the cops. You're going to confront them. You're going to send your big, you know, chihuahua after them. You're going to do something, right? So decisions now. When you're making decisions, we like to group them in threes. Try to put 3 courses of action together, you know, so you have different things that you can do. Let me ask, what do we do when there's a fire? Or if you're on fire? Stop, drop, and roll, right? What do we do if there's an active shooter? Run, hide, or fight, right? You have 3 very specific courses of action that you can take. We limit them to 3 because if you start going over that, then it's too many. You know, everyone's watched the Iron Man movies where he's moving things in the air, right? That list is too long. You're going to be sitting there doing this, and someone's going to come and they're going to run you over, or they're going to steal from you, or they're going to do something, right? Something very negative to you. We don't want that to happen. So when you're making your courses of action, try to come up with 3 for different situations. And you need to, in order to be situationally prepared, you need to kind of what if everything. You know, my dad used to what if everything. Well, he still does. And you know, growing up, that's not something you want to hear as a kid, right? You just want, Dad, I just want to go to the store. Let's go to the store, right? Well, what if this happens? What if this happens? Well, what do we do? He'd look at me and say, what do we do if we get into a car wreck and I get knocked out? What do we do if we get separated? Everyone's had that talk with their kids, right? We meet here. If that doesn't work, then we meet here, or we go somewhere else. Or Stuart, you go find, you know, a policeman and tell him you're lost, right? So come up, you do your what ifs. That helps you, develop your personal operational plan, and it helps you start thinking of, okay, well, if I do run into something, this is exactly what I'm going to do. If you have 3 choices, then you have 3 more choices than that guy who has not done any planning. You know, the old saying is, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Absolutely. You know, you got to give yourself something, right? Otherwise, you're just doing this, and you know, you're trying to juggle options that you haven't thought through and you haven't thought about, and that's just going to get you into more trouble. That's going to get you running into walls and getting trapped, you know, and things like that, right?
A lot of people freeze too.
Yeah, you'll absolutely freeze.
They're not used to it, it's shocked, and
Right.
but they stand there, that's not.
We have this thing called that somebody coined it a little while ago. It's analysis or paralysis by analysis. So what does that mean? That means I'm going, well, I got 15 choices. Let me think about this. And while this is going on, the world's burning around you, right? Don't do that to yourselves. Cut your choices down to about 3, and you'll be able to make quicker choices. You'll be able to make better choices, right? I think that might be it. That's a cool logo my kids came up with for my outside company. That's my email at work. That's my desk phone number at work, and then that's my website there. Any questions about situational awareness, folks? I wanted to keep it short and sweet so that, you know, you start thinking about different things. I got a compliment earlier from a lady who does ADAP. I did an active shooter situational awareness class for them. They said, hey, you know what, we're still thinking about the things you bring up. If there are questions that you guys have after this, feel free to email me or give me a call, you know, whichever. My wife likes to go to Disneyland, so I spend a lot of time in line. Guess what I'm doing in line? I'm answering phone calls and emails and texts from the chief, right? So, yeah, if no other questions, folks, I wanted to be very respectful of your time and I, you know, keep it, you know, short and sweet. So thank you very much for having me.